Hi, let us now look into the different other aspects on investment banking. Over here, the first one, in the first aspect, let us understand uh, which are those investment banks which are claimed to be pure investment banks. So, when we say pure investment banks, we ideally mean to say that they have limited their activity only into the investment banking space and nothing else other than that. Like we have seen in case of universal bank, they some banks are also into the commercial lending activity, but in case of pure investment banks, they are not in any way related to this commercial lending activity, but their activity is primarily in the nature of advisory services, which we have discussed in the last video. So, few of the names are Rothschild, Lazard, European Risk Capital, Wells Fargo, and TD Securities. So, these are few of the examples of the pure investment banks in the global scenario. Uh, there are some investment banks which has a mix of commercial lending activities as well as the investment banking activities, and the uh, most familiar names among them are BNP Paribas, Society General, Deutsche Bank, HSBC, JP Morgan, and Citigroup. So, I guess few of the names we are quite familiar, like Deutsche Bank, HSBC, Citigroup. They are both in the investment banking space as well as in the commercial lending space. Now let us look into the structure of investment banking. So an investment bank activity is classified in three different offices. So uh, there is a front office, there is a middle office, and there is a back office. Now let us look into the different activities that are associated with each of these offices. So the front office of an investment bank, uh, the activities are more related towards the advisory services, sales and trading, and global transaction banking. Whereas the mid office is more oriented towards risk management, corporate treasury, financial control, and compliance. The back office is more of the operation unit of the investment banking activity. So, I hope you could get a sense around the different offices in an investment banking activity, and it's very important for one to understand the office with which one would like to associate himself or herself in an investment banking space. So, uh, generally, it is said that the most coveted space is the front office, whether it's in treasury or in investment banking, because over here you are actually into the dealing activity where you are interacting with the customers and making the transactions go through. But the orientation of some individuals may be more towards the risk management part of it, so they uh, prefer the mid office segment, right, which is more into the risk management activities, um, maybe from a market risk management or a operational risk management, and in certain cases the trade risk management activities. And there may be some individuals who would ideally like to align himself or herself more from an operational standpoint. So, if someone is really wanting to build a career around investment banking, it's better for one to understand the orientation or the mindset that individual carries, and which is the office with which they would like to associate their activity with, and then train themselves more towards that. That's, I think, is very critical based on my years of experience, that one should somewhere deep down uh, have an orientation as to what is the nature of activity with which they would like to associate themselves with in an investment banking space, and then look forward and to associate in an investment banking job. Because if the orientation is not correct, if that understanding is not clear, if a operations guy is been placed in a front office role, or it may be placed or they somehow make through in a front office role, the person won't simply enjoy. And on the other hand, the person who is more aligned towards a front office job, and if that guy is made to work in an operation space, the that individual is surely not going to enjoy. So uh, the orientation along with the uh, job role that has been placed across should ideally match to really make a career out of investment banking. So let us look at the role of an investment banker. So the four broader activities that an investment banker is associated with are advisory services, sales and trading, mergers and acquisitions, and raising of capital. So let us look deeper into that. In case of advisory services, these are the following nature of activities an investment banker is associated with. So they are associated with strategic planning, business valuations, financial restructurings, and opinion on fairness of a proposed transaction. In the broader head of sales and trading, uh, an investment banker is associated with making a market in stock, placing new offerings, and publishing research reports. Under the broader heads of mergers and acquisitions, an investment banker's role may relate to mergers, acquisitions, divestitures, and so on. And in case of raising of capital, an investment banker's role may be associated to acquiring another company, reducing debt load, expand existing operations, or a specific project financing. So, this is not an exhaustive list. This is just to give you a sense around the different options around investment banking that is associated, an investment banker is associated with. So, many a times we see that in an interview, an investment banker uh, who is on the who is basically the interviewer do place across a question to the interviewee as to which part of investment banking they are more interested in. And in many cases, the interview is not very clear as to what are the different roles of an investment banker, and hence they are not being able to reply on this question properly. And if this question is not well answered, the interviewer, I'm pretty sure, is not really going to be happy about that, because an interviewer's basic expectation would be to see through the fact that an interviewee has a reasonable level of understanding across the different nature of activities that takes place in an investment bank, and the person is reasonably clear as to where his or her interests lie. So one has to have that alignment in mind before he or she really go on for an investment banking interview. So that's the reason this section gets to be very important. So whether in as an employee in investment banking space, would you like to be associate more towards the advisory services, or towards sales and trading, or towards mergers acquisitions, or something related to raising of capital, where your interests lie, is something that you should be more clear about and then place across at the right places when a question is being asked, and that I'm pretty sure makes a lot of difference. So when you go with a very clear picture around yourself, and you are very clear as to what you want to do, it makes life simpler for the other person who is interviewing, and he or she really feels good of the fact that this individual has sense around the industry, and also has clarity of thought, and that really strikes the chord for if all other things are well taken care of, you are being able to answer to the questions placed across in the interview on different other stuff, then this clarity of thought places you much ahead than your peer or competitor to get a coveted job in the investment banking space. So now let's look into the business portfolio of investment banking. So uh, the investment banking space can be classified into core business portfolio and support activity portfolio. So let us understand what comes under the broader head of core business portfolio. Though we had touched upon this in a lesser manner in the last video. So let's dig deep into the different nature of activities that comes under the core business portfolio activity of investment bank, and those are in the nature of management of public offers of equity and debt, open offers, buyback offers, delisting offers, project financing, debt syndication, structured finance, private equity syndication, preferential issues, financial restructuring, corporate reorganizations like merger, asset sales, acquisitions, underwriting, market making, bought out deals, and investments in primary markets. So these are the core business portfolio of any investment banking company. And in the support activity part, uh, there are activities which are in the nature of stockbroking, derivative products, portfolio management, sales and distribution, equity research and investment advisory, corporate research, venture capital, private equity, asset management, proprietary trading, and dealing in securities. So this is just to give you a sense around the different activities of investment banking, which one may align himself or herself with, and where the different opportunities lie in the investment banking space. So I hope in these two videos, there's the last video, the first video, and this video, there's the second video. You got a perspective around investment banking. What are the different activities? What are the roles that's associated with investment banking? And I'm pretty sure that you'd be triggered to think around which is that job role or activity you'd like to associate yourself with, and how you would like to shape your career going forward. I hope you like the set of this aspects being placed across, and we will be discussing in the next video around the aspects of underwriting. uh, so see you there.